Good day, everyone. Welcome to School Plant and Property Management. My name is Rosalie Custodio. Today, Group 3 members will discuss about school buildings. To begin the discussion, let me present to you the types of school buildings. The availability of an acceptable building is an important requirement for the operation of a school. To be acceptable, a building shall be safe, sanitary, and adequate. A safe school building is structurally stable to resist lateral forces such as strong winds, earthquakes, etc. It is free from structural defects and deficiencies so as to resist distortion and rapid deterioration. Its design and construction shall include provisions for fire resistance, fire prevention, as well as against accidents, provisions for persons with disability, and other necessary facilities to secure it against thieves, stray animals, and intruders. A school buildings must be in hygienic and sanitary condition at all times to protect the health of the pupils or the students and the teachers. It shall be situated in the school site where the ground is slightly elevated and can be kept dry and drained easily. The color of the paint to be used shall comply with the hygienic and aesthetic requirements. Finally, there shall be a sufficient numbers of standard classrooms to accommodate the school enrollment, as well as enough internal spaces for other basic curricular and administrative needs. School buildings are classified according to structure, function, and design. As to structure, it may be classified as permanent, semi-permanent, and temporary. As to function, it is classified as instructional, administrative, and non-program. And as to design, it is classified as Gabaldon type, RPUS Bayanihan, DepEd standard modified for learning and public use school building or Lapus building, and others. The first one is according to structure. Semi-permanent school building refers to a school building constructed of 50% masonry, steel or other heavy materials, and of 50% light materials with an economic life of 20 or more years. Permanent building is a building constructed of 80% masonry, structural steel, or combined reinforced concrete hollow blocks, usually with an economic life of 35 or more years. Roofs may be either galvanized iron, sheets, or bricks, although trusses may be of wood. The term fire-resistant refers to the rating of material relative to the degree to which it can withstand fire. The fire-resistant time rating material means the length of time that can withstand being burned according to generally recognized and acceptable testing methods and calamity with the standards, rules, and regulations of the Department of Public Works and Highways. Makeshift structures, basically made of bamboo, nipa, kogon, lumber, and other lightweight materials. These are considered as temporary structures as a means of easing up classroom shortage and temporary shelters during emergencies. Next is according to design. In the table, it summarizes the type of building according to design, floor dimensions in meters, floor area in square meter, and gross area per place at 45 pupils or students per room. Gabaldon-type building. A school building designed in the 1920s by virtue of Act No. 1914 Gabaldon Act on School Buildings, authored by Congressman Isauro Gabaldon in 1909, categorized as either permanent or semi-permanent based on the availability of materials in the locality. It has a dimension of 9.0 meters by 7.0 meters per classroom. with capital inlay windows usually elevated with a U-shaped tank in wooden flooring and timber frame. Army-type building assembled at 2 rooms per unit constructed by the Army in areas affected by typhoons. In the 50s with GI sheets for roofing, wooden jalousies for windows on one side. Magsaysay-type building. The first prefabricated school building started in 1957, predominantly timber framed, with adobe walls and corrugated asbestos roof. Windows are of wooden jalousies on one side of the room, with one door for entrance and exit. Marcos-type building, a prefabricated 2 to 3 room school building in the late 60s with light steel frame, concrete hollow blocks, wall concrete flooring with an area of 6.0 meters by 7.35 meters per room, usually with galvanized iron sheets roof, steel rafters, and steel doors. The per pupil place is 1:1.25 square meters. Bagong Lipunan type building. Adapted from 1974 to 1981, the structure is similar to RPU's Bayanihan type but of modular design, intended for prefabricated style. It has a floor area of 6.0 meters by 8.0 meters dimension per classroom, usually consisting of 3 rooms, so it has 3 types. Type 1 consists of 1 story or 3 classroom. Type 2 with posts, beams, timber roof frames, concrete hollow block walls, and Type 3 with diagonal brackets supporting the eaves. Roof has steep lobes and steel columns. RPU's Bayanihan Building. It refers to a 1-story building funded jointly by the Republic of the Philippines and the United States in the early 70s, made of reinforced concrete designed to resist winds up to 140 mph velocity, built entirely by and labor with local materials. The area is about 135 square meters per room with 2.50 meters floor to ceiling height, consisting of 3 rooms with accordion-type concrete partitions with the windows made of steel frame and wooden jalousies. The per pupil place is 1:1.68 square meters. ESF building, adopted under the Economic Support Fund Elementary School Building project implemented in 1981, designed to be a typhoon-resistant structure which can withstand winds up to 140 miles per hour, constructed of durable, long-lasting materials requiring a minimum of maintenance. The standard building consists of 3 rooms with a floor area of 6.0 meter by 8.0 meter per classroom, has reinforced concrete columns and beams, concrete hollow block wall, wooden roof trusses and rafters, and long span gauge 26 corrugated GI roofing. Imelda-type building, designed in 1983, the building consists of a 2-story concrete structure adopted only in 4 cities of Metro Manila: Manila, Quezon, Caloocan, and Pasay cities. In other large cities in the country, due to the non-availability of very limited sites for horizontal expansion and the high cost of land in these areas, it has a minimum of 18 classrooms, concrete hollow block wall, copies inlay windows, and red bricks for roofing. This building refers to typhoon-resistant school building funded by the Japanese government through the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA, implemented from 1988 to 1994 in areas affected by typhoons, using the Japanese newly developed technology for constructing typhoon-resistant school buildings. The school received a minimum of 3 classrooms, an office, and a toilet. Secondary school receive a science laboratory and a workshop with school furniture and science equipment. Priority considerations are classroom deficiencies and site availability. This type of building is implemented from 1994 to 2001 under the Japanese government Funded Educational Facilities Improvement Program EFIP through JICA. The structure has a minimum of three classrooms, toilets, and science laboratory in the case of secondary schools, with school furniture and equipment. Recipient schools were those along major roads with water and electricity and have not safe ground conditions. SEDP Building, Secondary Education Development Program, funded from a loan with an Asian Development Bank. The building was constructed in 675 secondary schools nationwide from 1990 to 1995, 8 batches. The Type B design consisting of three building package, one learning resource center, a two-story academic building, and a technology and HE building. The C-type design consists of a one-story structure that includes five classrooms, one laboratory, one HE, one library, and two toilets. Multipurpose workshop building, a school building designed to accommodate the home economics and industrial arts classes with dimension of 7.0 meters by 18 meters for 50 students with a kitchen, dining, living area, storage work area, bedroom, lavatory, comfort room, bathroom, and cabinet area, usually allocated to schools applying the standard that for 8 classes there should be one multi-workshop. FBR 2000 building, referred to as Fabricated Vigorous Room 2000. It is a demountable type of school building made of structural members, fiber cement board for walls, and PVC corrugated sheets for roofings. The prototype model is in Barangay Pungo, Kalumpit, Bulacan, and tested in various regions. This type of school building is a school building donated by the Federation of Filipino-Chinese Chamber of Commerce and Industry under the School in the Barrio project, assembled at 2 rooms per unit, usually with a floor area of 6.0 meters by 7.0 meters with glass jalousies for windows, concrete hollow blocks, walls, and corrugated galvanized iron roofing sheets. Little Red Schoolhouse, a 3-room school building in priority multi-grade school with one toilet in each room and water system. Classroom furnishings, tables, and chairs donated to 50 schools by the Coca-Cola Foundation Philippines Incorporated. Spanish Grant School Building Package. Assistance from the Government of Spain provided to areas affected by Typhoon Unding, Winnie, and Yoyong in December 2004 in Aurora, Quezon, and Iloilo City, and those by armed conflict in Mindanao, specifically to 36 elementary and 29 secondary schools. Classroom dimension is 7 meters by 9 meters. With basic furniture, desks, armchairs, teacher's table and chairs, blackboards, and cabinets. TEET building, constructed at 2 rooms per unit under the civil works component of the third elementary education project of the department. The structure was adopted in 23 provinces covered by the project. The structure adopts the minimum standards of the department of the 8 meter by 7 meter dimension, considering such factors as climatic conditions, location, etc. SEDIP building, funded under the Secondary Education Development and Improvement Project, 4 school building packages adopting the DepEd design standards, modified and are constructed in the SEDIP-covered schools. Building types include a minimum of 2 classrooms with home economics and industrial arts buildings, a library, a science laboratory, and toilet from 1 story to 3-story structures with basic school furniture adopting the DepEd classroom dimension of 7.0 by 9.0 meters. The modified designs are standard designs with minor alterations or modifications to adapt to site conditions, high elevation, short lot, sloping uneven terrain, etc. Special designs are rule-specific designs meant to meet specific or special needs. Example, 2-story, 2 classroom with science laboratory. Lapus Building, Short for Learning and Public Use School Building. It is a one-story, two-classroom structure designed for the typhoon-prone areas to serve various functions. Classroom for up to 63 students, evacuation centers for at least 6 families, and venue for special school and community activities. Made of reinforced concrete, secured during flooding, typhoon, earthquake resistance, and one-story buildings with steel doors and windows, basic lighting fixture outlets with an estimated lifespan of more than 50 years. Now let's proceed to types of building according to function. 1. Instructional spaces. These spaces are designed to directly accommodate the educational program. The basic instructional spaces for elementary schools are classrooms, and work education shops are multipurpose buildings for home economics and industrial arts classes. However, for secondary schools offering general curriculum, the basic instructional spaces are classrooms, computer rooms, and science laboratories, and technology and livelihood education or TLE shops. In secondary vocational schools, basic instructional spaces also include specialized shops. Other spaces such as libraries, learning centers, gymnasiums, and similar spaces are classified as instructional spaces when they are used directly in conjunction with the curriculum. In line with the changing curriculum, a modular type of school building has been designed to include components for home economics, industrial arts, agricultural arts, etc. in one building unit known as multipurpose workshop building. The size of instructional space depends upon the number of places to be provided. However, the minimum size of any basic instructional space shall be planned to accommodate the ideal class size. For secondary schools, the number of basic instructional spaces required is derived by the following formula. R is equal to T times P over S times U, where R is the required number of a type of basic instructional space, P is the total weekly periods for all subjects in all classes or sections, and year levels requiring a type of basic instructional space. P is the use percentage, which is 100%, except in agricultural and fishery shops, which is 80%. S is the weekly class periods. The type of basic instructional space is available per week, which is normally 40 but varies in school with extended school days. U is the utilization factor, which is 90% for classrooms and 85% for science laboratories and shops. 2. Administrative and service spaces. The administrative and service spaces are those which serve to facilitate administrative and administration related functions and services such as administrative offices, canteens, or lunch counters, medical dental clinics, guidance rooms, dormitories, etc. 3. Non-program spaces. Non-program spaces are those which are not directly related to the implementation of the educational program and administrative functions or services such as lobbies, corridors, stairs, etc. The regulating space in school building is expressed by allocating area per place or station. In instructional spaces, the area per place is the average area allocated to a pupil or student, including furniture and equipment assigned to him or her. Adequate circulation space, the space for the teacher and integrated preparation staff or storage spaces. Likewise, the area per place in administrative and faculty offices is the average area allotted to a member of office staff or faculty but does not include ancillary or service spaces such as lobbies, conference room, mimeographing rooms, toilets, etc. If resources permit, it is desirable to provide the spaces larger than the minimum. And number 4, corridors. Corridors are required at ground level if appropriate direct access to enclosed spaces is provided. Every corridor shall not less than 1.10 meters wide and shall be unobstructed above ground level. The minimum clear width is 2.0 meters provided that the provisions of the national building and fire codes of the Philippines and other relevant rules and regulations are observed.